Hi students, today's topic is refraction at spherical surface brought to you by Ink Academy. All set, second term on fire. Students to shine in physics convergent towards Ink Academy. Place where results is directly proportional to the conceptual learning.
Hi students, today we are going to talk about refraction at spherical surface, right? So we have discussed about the diffraction in different kind of surface. So today's topic we are going to do it about spherical surface. In this spherical surface I have taken the convex side, right? So here I have taken the convex side. In this, let us mark all the parts over here. So here the point P, this is called as pole, and this is your center of curvature, as you know very well. And the normal can be drawn passing through the center of curvature, right? So now what I am doing is, I am going to place an object over here. So two rays we can take it out. One ray passing through the principal axis. If the ray passing through the center of curvature, it will act like a normal. So what happens here, it will not undergo any deviation. Only passing through will occur because it is called as oblique incidence. The other one is, it will suffer an angle, so that the another ray I am discussing here, that a ray of light will be passing from point O. So the point where it is incident, I am making it as M. So this angle between the normal and the incident ray will be I, right? Angle of incidence. And it suffers a refraction in such a way that, so it suffers a refraction in such a way that from rarer medium, this is going to be your denser medium. This is my next consideration. So if the refraction happens from rarer to denser medium, the line passing to the principal axis will not suffer any deviation. But this ray of light, when it is falling on M, it will suffer a deviation where from rarer to denser medium, it bends towards the normal. This is my refracted ray. So now we can point out what is your incident ray, that is your OM is the incident ray, and here we can point out the refracted ray, where these two rays intersect. The ray number 1 from that is from principal axis, and the ray from here, that is your refracted ray. Both the refracted rays will intersect at point where the image will be formed. So this point I am making it as I. So where the image is formed, that is your I. So as you know well, I have considered here a convex refracting surface, and two rays I am making it out. One is passing through the principal axis, one is having certain angle, and it undergoes refraction rarer to denser, bends towards the normal, and both these refracted rays intersect at I. If the refracted rays intersect at any point, there the image will be formed. So there the image is there. So you know that the angle between the normal and the incident rays, angle of incidence. Similarly, the angle between the emergent ray, that is your refracted ray, and the normal, we call it as angle of refraction. And you know that, let us mark out like what is the object where it is placed from the point pole. The reference point is pole. So this is your object distance, and this distance, right side where the image is formed, right hand side where the image is formed, I am making it out as image distance. And as you know well, this distance CP will be your radius of curvature, right? These are the assumptions that I want to say. Since the object is at left hand side, according to the sign convention, it will be -u. That you have to keep it in your mind. These are the assumptions you can have for this diagram, right? A simple assumption only. So now we can say that let angle OMN that I have taken. So this angle is OMN, right? So this is OMN. Let me join this angle for geometrical application for my convenience, right? So this triangle OMN, let me take it as angle of incidence I. Similarly, angle CMI, which is equivalent to R, and I am making it as OP as -u, so according to the sign convention, and PI is equal to V, and CP is equal to R, the radius of curvature. Now I want to have this angle of incidence. If I want to calculate angle of incidence according to the geometrical application from math, I can find out like this angle I can be obtained by the exterior angle property. Angle I is equal to sum of exterior opposite. So this angle I will be equivalent to angle MOP plus angle MCP. This is my next assumption. So angle I is equal to angle MOP plus angle MCP. Now I want to know what is angle MCP. This angle MCP, again I can apply the exterior angle property. This is your angle MCP. If I want to find out angle MCP, this angle MCP will be equivalent to sum of exterior opposite, that is angle R and angle, this is your MIP. So this I can take it as now angle R plus angle MIP. This is according to the exterior angle property. From that I can find out what is angle R, which is nothing but angle MCP minus angle MIP. This, now we got what is angle I and what is angle R. Now we have to find out what is tan angle MOP. The tan angle MOP is nothing but, in the angle we can be able to see that this is your angle over here. You can be able to see this tan angle MOP will be like this, right? So this MP, the curved one, we have to take it as a straight element. So we have to take this triangle, the angle MOP will be equivalent to opposite side by adjacent side, say MP by OP. What is angle MOP? MP by OP. Similarly, I have to find out what is tan angle MCP. So inside the triangle angle MCP, if I take it, angle MCP. Again you have to apply the tangent where it is opposite side by adjacent side. You will be getting MP by CP. MP by CP. And again I have to take it, the another triangle, say tan of angle MIP. If I take tan of angle MIP, here MIP, right? So this is nothing but opposite side by adjacent side. Again you will be getting it as MP by IP. So now since the angles are considered to be very small, here I have drawn it very little bigger, but the angles are very small, so tan theta can be approximated as theta if the angles are smaller. So I can write it as angle MOP as MP by OP, angle MCP as MP by CP, angle MIP is MP by IP. Now take angle I. Angle I is nothing but angle MOP, which is MP by OP plus angle MCP, MP by CP. Similarly, what is angle R? Angle MCP minus MIP. So it is MP by CP minus MP divided by IP. So angle I and angle R, we obtain it. Now you know that by Snell's law. What is Snell's law? Snell's law will state that sin I divided by sin R, which is equivalent to the refractive index N21, which is nothing but the ratio of N2 divided by N1, right? So if I cross multiply, you will be getting N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R. If the angles are very small, you can approximate as sin theta as theta. So N1 I is equal to N2 R. Now you substitute I and R from the above expression. Say, consider this as first equation and this as second equation. So N1 into MP by OP plus MP by CP is equal to N2 into MP by CP minus MP by IP. Right? So throughout the equation you can divide MP to get it. So now N1 into 1 by OP. From the diagram, OP is nothing but minus U. We have taken already. So you can substitute whatever you know. 1 by minus U. Plus MP, again we have divided. So 1 by CP is R. Right? CP is nothing but R. And then here, right hand side, you will be getting again 1 by R minus 1 divided by IP. IP is nothing but V. Now you have substituted. So now what you can do is you can multiply n1 inside minus n1 by u plus n1 by r, which is equivalent to n2 by r minus n2 by v. Bring u and v one side so that you will rewrite it as n2 by v minus n1 by u, which is equivalent to n2 by r minus n1 by r. So your final expression will be n2 by v minus n1 by u, which is 1 by r into n2 minus n1. This is the expression for which will give you the idea about the refraction that is happening in the refracting surface, right? So using this you can obtain the lens maker formula, which is useful for making the lens.